Rambo may be a fictitious character, but he has his roots in the reality of war. As created by David Morrell, he is an intelligent, highly trained human killing machine designed to elude or, if necessary, eliminate the enemy. He was not designed for peace, and although he was discharged from Special Forces after America left Vietnam, Vietnam never left Rambo. He is also not alone. As many people observed when the novel First Blood was published in 1972, and when the film First Blood was released in 1982, there could be lots of Rambos among us who never recovered from their combat experience. As you'll hear, Morrell was inspired to write First Blood after meeting Vietnam veterans in the classes he was teaching at Penn State University in the late 1960s. Similarly, long before I ever contemplated writing the book, I met a nascent Rambo for a documentary I was making in the late 1990s. He was a wiry, bespectacled kid of about 30, and he was wearing not a headband or bandoleros, but an orange jumpsuit provided by the Massachusetts Department of Correction. My producing partner, Gail Kirschenbaum, and I had created a show for HBO about the American parole system. Nobody else at the time was doing this kind of program, and we were fascinated by the way states grant guilty people their freedom. Massachusetts was confident and gracious enough to let our crew tape several of their Boston hearings. The young man in question had been given a life sentence for killing a Vietnamese immigrant. The inmate, who was white and had been a soldier, willingly admitted his guilt. This is the first step in applying for clemency. Under questioning from the parole board, all of whom were political appointees, he explained his actions by saying that he had snapped during a street altercation and ended the man's life. Regardless of how many times the young man insisted that he was explaining his actions but wasn't trying to justify them, the board members could not parse the distinction. They kept asking, "Are you saying that the United States military made you kill this victim?" "No," the young man repeated with growing frustration. "I killed him, but the military taught me how." Predictably, he was not granted clemency. Moreover, his segment never aired. HBO chose to go for a crime of passion, where the moral issues were less controversial. But the young man's situation stuck with me, not only for the drama of the hearing itself, but also for the implication that the American military was, by definition, creating generations of potential killers. This is one of the themes that drive Morrell's 3 Rambo books and the 5 films that have been made from them to date. It is also one of the reasons I wrote the book. I also wrote it to celebrate one of the most compelling and original literary creations of the 20th century. Rambo stands with Sherlock Holmes, Tarzan, and James Bond as an icon of popular culture, who began in novels, was translated into films, and had global impact. In fact, I would argue that Rambo is the most powerful, and that his name is in dictionaries and has entered the lexicon as a symbol as well as a character.